The siege of Halicarnassus, which began in 334 BCE, was one of the most difficult and extended sieges during Alexander the Great's campaign in Asia Minor. In part one of this siege, Alexander had faced fierce resistance from the defenders, led by the Persian satrap of Caria, Oranabates, and the Greek mercenary commander Memnon of Rhodes. Despite the challenges, Alexander's forces had surrounded the city, blocked its harbor, and begun the assault on its formidable walls. Part two of the siege would bring Alexander closer to his ultimate goal of capturing the key Persian stronghold and solidifying his control over the region. Strategic reinforcements and siege techniques. As the siege dragged on, Alexander reinforced his army with additional siege equipment and troops. The Macedonian king's engineers constructed specialized siege towers, battering rams, and other military equipment to overcome the city's impressive fortifications. The walls of Halicarnassus were renowned for their strength, and the defenders took full advantage of their position, launching counterattacks and defending the walls fiercely. One of Alexander's tactical advantages in part two of the siege was his ability to use his cavalry in tandem with his infantry forces. By employing coordinated attacks and precision strikes, Alexander's army gradually weakened the defenders' morale. Additionally, the Macedonian forces utilized their superior mobility to cut off any potential supplies or reinforcements from reaching the city, further strangling Halicarnassus and forcing its defenders into a precarious position. Meanwhile, Memnon of Rhodes, who had commanded the defense of Halicarnassus, continued to employ a strategy of delay, hoping to wear down Alexander's forces. His naval units, based in nearby ports, harassed the Macedonian blockade, hoping to relieve pressure on the city. However, Alexander's forces were persistent, and despite Memnon's best efforts, the Macedonian blockade held. The fall of the city. As the siege reached its final stages, Alexander focused his efforts on breaching the walls of Halicarnassus. His engineers managed to create breaches in several key sections of the city's defenses, and the Macedonian forces began pushing their way into the city. The defenders, realizing that the situation was becoming untenable, made one last desperate attempt to hold the walls, but they were overwhelmed by the Macedonian onslaught. In a final bid to defend Halicarnassus, the Persian forces under Oranabates and Memnon attempted to rally their troops and fight back, but the city's defenses were gradually falling apart under the sustained pressure from Alexander's army. After a series of intense battles and street-by-street fighting, Halicarnassus finally surrendered. Aftermath and significance. The fall of Halicarnassus was a major victory for Alexander and a decisive blow to Persian control over Asia Minor. The city had been one of the most formidable strongholds in the region, and its capture demonstrated Alexander's ability to overcome even the most stubborn defenses. With Halicarnassus in Macedonian hands, Alexander secured a vital position along the coast of Caria and further weakened the Persian Empire's hold over Asia Minor. The siege also highlighted Alexander's military ingenuity and determination. His ability to maintain the siege over several months, adapt his tactics, and utilize his resources effectively ensured the eventual success of the operation. The defeat of Halicarnassus marked the end of significant Persian resistance in the region and paved the way for Alexander to continue his campaign into the heart of the Persian Empire. In terms of its broader strategic implications, the fall of Halicarnassus opened the door for Alexander to continue his march eastward. By neutralizing Persian naval power in the region, Alexander was free to advance into the Persian heartlands, where he would achieve even greater successes at the Battle of Issus and ultimately defeat King Darius III. Conclusion. The Siege of Halicarnassus, Part 2, was a pivotal moment in Alexander the Great's campaign against the Persian Empire. The successful capture of the city, after a protracted and difficult siege, marked a key victory in his efforts to liberate the Greek cities of Asia Minor and neutralize Persian power in the region. The fall of Halicarnassus further solidified Alexander's reputation as a brilliant military strategist and laid the groundwork for his subsequent conquests, including the eventual overthrow of the Persian Empire.